So if you are also waiting for Solo Leveling Season 3, or if you watched the earlier episodes and have forgotten some details, then this video is going to be perfect for you. I request you to watch the video till the end. Before starting, please like the video and subscribe to episode Decode, because making such a long video requires a lot of effort, and even a small support from you motivates us a lot. So let's begin without any delay. Season 3 Episode 1 starts with a hunter inside a dungeon. Suddenly a monster appears in front of him. That monster is actually the Frost Monarch, whom we saw in the last episode of Season 2. He came there to search for a fragment of brilliant light, but even here he finds nothing. Then another monarch appears there. He looks very strange and beast-like. The two monarchs start talking about a place in the east where the Shadow Monarch is located, which basically means they are talking about Jinwoo. Then the other monarch says that the greatest fragment of brilliant light is also in the same country. Suddenly the Frost Monarch senses a strong presence, and we see another hunter approaching them. You can try guessing who it might be. The Frost Monarch realizes that this hunter had actually lured them there. The hunter asks them if they are talking about Korea. The Frost Monarch replies that even if they are, it's none of his business. At that moment the other monarch opens a portal, and tells the Frost Monarch that they don't have time for this. The Frost Monarch also says that if the hunter can stop them then he should try. As they begin to leave, the hunter says he won't let them go so easily and attacks them. But the Frost Monarch creates an ice wall, and blocks the attack. Then we find out that this hunter is actually Jinwoo's father. The scene then shifts to the red gate where Jinwoo had gone. Now he is facing the dungeon boss. The boss is very angry and tells Jinwoo that he fought well to survive this long, but now he is surrounded from all sides. The boss says that his army is already hiding everywhere in the forest. Then he calls his army, but no one appears for a long time. Jinwoo smiles and tells his shadow army to come out. We then see that Jinwoo's shadow soldiers had already killed all the monsters, and were bringing their dead bodies with them. Seeing this makes the boss even more furious. Then he orders his remaining monsters to attack. Jinwoo also sends his shadow soldiers forward, and they easily kill all the monsters. Now only the boss is left. Seeing everything that happened, the boss gets extremely angry and charges toward Jinwoo. But at that moment Tusk uses gravity magic, and slams the boss onto the ground. Jinwoo then walks up to the boss and says that if he answers his questions properly then maybe he will suffer less pain, but before the boss can say anything he dies. Jinwoo realizes that the system interfered again. At that moment Jinwoo remembers that after clearing the demon castle he received a key that could only be used after reaching level 100. After the Jeju Island raid he had already reached level 100. So he takes the key out of his inventory, and all the information about the key appears in front of him. He finds out that this key belongs to the Double Dungeon Temple, the same double dungeon where Jinwoo originally gained his powers. This is a huge discovery for Jinwoo because he knows almost nothing about the system that made him so powerful. Every time he tried to learn about the system it interfered and stopped him. But now the system itself seems to be calling him. Jinwoo thinks that finally he might learn the truth about the system. However, he notices that the key has a timer of 417 hours, which means he cannot use it yet. He decides that since he has already waited this long, he can wait a little more. The scene then shifts again, and we see that Jinwoo's friend is angry because people online are spreading hate about Jinwoo. He is replying to those comments when Jinwoo arrives. He gives Jinwoo a bag full of essence stones, and says that Jinwoo had mentioned they would need a lot of money to start their new guild. Jinwoo is surprised to see so many stones, and asks if he cleared a high-rank gate. He then says that now they won't have to worry about paying employees either. Jinwoo suddenly remembers that they will also need to hire employees for the new guild. His friend agrees and asks if Jinwoo has thought of a name for the guild yet. They start discussing possible names. His friend suggests the name Solo Play Guild. Jinwoo doesn't like the name at all but doesn't say anything. He just wonders to himself if it's a joke, because who would name their guild something like that? At that moment the doorbell rings. Jinwoo opens the door and sees Cha Hae-in standing there. He is shocked, but she says she came to meet him. Jinwoo asks why she came. Cha says that she wants to join his guild. Jinwoo asks if the chairman sent her or if Jong-in kicked her out of her guild, but she says neither of those things happened. Jinwoo then asks why she wants to join their solo play guild. Hearing that name makes Cha surprised, and she asks if they really named the guild that. Jinwoo says yes, and explains that he and the vice guild master decided on it together. His friend immediately complains that he never agreed to that name. Jinwoo replies that since he didn't object he assumed he agreed. Jinwoo then notices that Cha's heartbeat is very fast even though she is trying to act normal. He suspects she might be hiding something. Jinwoo points out that she is still under contract with her old guild and asks how she can join them. Cha says she will pay the penalty to break the contract, no matter how much it costs. This makes Jinwoo even more suspicious. He wonders why she is willing to pay such a huge penalty just to join his guild. Jinwoo tells her that they cannot afford to pay the salary of an S-rank hunter like her. Cha says she doesn't need any salary. Jinwoo asks again why she wants to join their guild. Cha begins blushing. The truth is that she has fallen in love with Jinwoo, but she cannot confess it directly. She simply wants to stay close to him. But she is too embarrassed to say it and just keeps blushing. Jinwoo eventually says that she can join, but first she must pass an entrance test. Cha asks what kind of test. Jinwoo says she must defeat the strongest shadow soldier he chooses. Cha immediately agrees. They decide to go to the Hunter Association gym for the test, but the gym is quite far away. Jinwoo then thinks about using the Shadow Exchange skill. This will also allow him to check whether he can teleport someone else with him. He asks Cha to stand closer, then uses the skill. The skill works, and both of them teleport directly to the gym. Cha is extremely surprised and asks how that happened. Jinwoo tells her to focus because the test is about to start. Cha suddenly remembers that she left her weapon at the office. She goes to the storage room in the gym, picks up a sword and says she is ready now. Jinwoo summons Igris and introduces him as the best swordsman of his shadow army. Cha asks how the winner will be decided. Jinwoo explains that the match will continue until she either destroys the shadow soldier or surrenders. Jinwoo had originally told Cha that he would use his strongest soldier, but he doesn't want to bring Baru in front of her because she was badly injured by him during the Jeju Island raid. That is why Igris is the best choice. Their fight begins. The clash of their swords creates a loud explosion. At the same time, the chairman happens to be inside the same building and hears the sound. He wonders who could be using the gym because no hunter reserved it today. When he checks the camera, he sees Jinwoo and Cha fighting. He remembers that when Cha regained consciousness after the Jeju Island raid, the first person she asked about was Jinwoo. The chairman starts thinking that there might be something going on between them. Because of that, he orders the gym cameras to be turned off, since he doesn't want to record what he thinks is their private moment. Meanwhile, the intense fight shakes the building so much that a painting behind the chairman falls down. The chairman completely misunderstands the situation and imagines something else entirely. On the other hand, we see that Cha manages to defeat Igris quite easily, which shocks Jinwoo. Cha then asks if that Black Knight was really his strongest soldier. She reminds him that he promised to use his strongest one and asks him to summon that soldier instead. She is talking about Baru. Jinwoo warns her that she might get hurt, but Cha insists and says she wants to fight him again. Jinwoo finally summons Baru and orders him to defeat Cha without harming her. Baru obeys and roars loudly, causing the windows of the gym to shatter. Cha remembers that Jinwoo had once fought this same monster. Baru prepares to attack with his claws, but Jinwoo immediately tells him to retract them, because if Cha gets even slightly hurt he will not forgive him. Baru immediately obeys and says, "Yes, my king." Cha prepares to attack, but suddenly Baru appears behind her just like he did on Jeju Island. Cha says she won't fall for the same trick again, and quickly attacks him with her sword. Baru blocks the attack effortlessly with just 2 fingers. Baru remembers that his king ordered him to defeat the opponent without hurting her, so he decides that the best way is to show overwhelming strength and destroy her will to fight. Cha keeps attacking at incredible speed, but Baru easily dodges every strike without even moving from his spot, only using slight body movements. Then he roars directly at her, and the pressure sends Cha flying backward. Jinwoo says the winner has already been decided and asks if she is satisfied now. But Cha refuses and says she wants to continue fighting. Jinwoo knows that Baru is very different from his other shadow soldiers because he was born purely to kill. But he also sees that Baru is trying hard to suppress his killing intent. The fight begins again, but this time Baru also starts attacking instead of only defending. During the fight, Cha's sword breaks. Even then, she refuses to give up and decides to use her strongest attack to finish the fight in one strike. She forms a blade of light and finally lands the attack on Baru, stabbing his chest. But because of this attack, Baru loses control of his killing intent. Memories of the Ant Queen start flashing in his mind, and he forgets Jinwoo's order. Instead, he begins following the Ant Queen's command to kill the enemy. Baru moves toward Cha with killing intent. Jinwoo shouts at him to stop, but Baru doesn't listen. Jinwoo quickly steps in and stops him. Baru immediately regains control and falls to the ground, apologizing. Jinwoo asks Cha if she is alright and tells her that this was only an entrance test, and there was no need for her to risk her life. Cha remains silent. Jinwoo asks again why she wants to join his guild and what she really wants. He wonders if she might actually be interested in him, but he quickly dismisses the idea. As he begins to leave, Cha finally says yes, she is interested in him. After saying that, she blushes deeply. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the office of the US Hunter Bureau, where officials are apologizing to David because they failed to bring Jinwoo to the United States. David says he doesn't want to hear apologies, and asks if the task he gave them was completed or not. If you remember, David had sent them to tempt Jinwoo into becoming a US citizen by offering to increase his power. This was supposed to be done with the help of Selna, who can upgrade a hunter's abilities. But they failed because Jinwoo's power seems to have no limit. They explain this in their report. Selna is still trembling because she remembers what she saw inside Jinwoo. David says that if that's the case then it's fine and they will think of another plan. Then David and Michael go to the 24th floor of the building. On the way, David asks Michael if he remembers the first time an S-rank gate appeared. Michael says of course he remembers it. That dungeon break destroyed the entire western part of America. Hunters from many different countries came together to fight, but thousands of top-rank hunters died during the raid. Only 5 hunters survived and together they managed to defeat the boss. Since then those 5 have been known as national-level hunters. Interestingly, one of those 5 hunters was from India. The boss of that dungeon was a dragon named Kamish, and its flames were so powerful that no one could extinguish them. When David and Michael reach the 24th floor, a huge gate opens and we see a giant runestone that once belonged to Kamish. David plans to give this runestone to Jinwoo as a gift, and convince him to become a citizen of their country. Since the runestone can only be used by mage-type hunters, it would be perfect for Jinwoo. Then we see the dead body of Kamish inside a lab, only its bones remain, but the skeleton is so enormous that humans standing beside it look like tiny ants. After that the scene shifts again and we see Jinwoo talking with his sister while they are playfully arguing. Jinwoo tells her that he is creating a guild and wants to name it Solo Play. His sister laughs and says that the name sounds strange and also points out that since he summons shadows he technically doesn't fight alone. Jinwoo admits that she has a point and asks her to suggest a better name. She suggests the name Jin Guild, explaining that represents I and Jin represents moving forward. Jinwoo likes the name and decides to use it. Later we see Cha at her house blushing constantly because she confessed her feelings to Jinwoo. She keeps wondering what she has done and worries that Jinwoo might think she is crazy. Then she reminds herself that Jinwoo saved her life, so it's not wrong for her to feel this way. But then she remembers that technically Byung-gu healed her. She also remembers hearing Byung-gu's voice when she was almost dying on Jeju Island. He had asked her to tell Jinwoo to be careful with his power before disappearing. After that the scene shifts to the headquarters of the Night Guild. The guild master Park Jong-soo and his members are discussing an A-rank gate that opened near their headquarters. They are not allowed to enter the gate because the Night Guild doesn't have an S-rank hunter. Even though they are one of the top 5 guilds in Korea due to having many A-rank hunters, they still need help from another guild to clear the dungeon. However, they worry that asking another guild for help might damage their reputation because people might think they can't even clear an A-rank gate alone. While discussing this problem, an A-rank healer suggests inviting just one hunter instead of an entire guild. Park suddenly remembers Jinwoo and decides they should go meet him. Meanwhile, Jinwoo is talking with his friend about naming the guild Jin Guild, which they both agree sounds much better than Solo Play. His friend then asks if Cha will join their guild, but Jinwoo says she cannot join and that he is actually looking for another hunter. His friend wonders who could be better than Cha, but Jinwoo explains that he wants someone trustworthy who has a hunter license but isn't interested in dungeon battles. Basically, he just wants a low-rank hunter to handle the formalities so he can continue clearing dungeons alone. At that moment, the doorbell rings. When they open the door, they see members of the Night Guild standing outside with a request file. Jinwoo invites them in and they explain the situation about the A-rank gate and ask for his help. They offer him 20% of the raid profits, explaining that other S-rank hunters usually receive only 10%. Jinwoo says he wants 50% and also wants to be treated like a guild instead of a single hunter because his shadow army is as strong as a full guild. Since they have just established their guild, he wants the deal to reflect that. Park negotiates and offers 40%. Jinwoo says he isn't really trying to negotiate, but Park eventually agrees on the condition that Jinwoo personally handles the dungeon boss. They finalize the agreement and tell him the raid will begin the next day. As the Night Guild members leave, one of them notices that Jinwoo's shadow moved slightly. He mentions it to Park, but Park jokes that he must be imagining things because shadows can't move on their own. In reality, Jinwoo had secretly placed one of his shadow soldiers inside their shadow before they left. Then they all leave, and Jinwoo also prepares for what comes next. Spending time with his family. Now the next day, the raid was about to start. The Night Guild, fully ready, was waiting for Jinwoo outside the gate. But Jinwoo had not arrived there yet. They were wondering if he would be late because only 5 minutes were left for the restart. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was thinking about why the weather was so bad today. But he saw that it was time to go. So he used his shadow exchange and reached the gate directly. There was a huge crowd of people who were fans of Jinwoo. They surrounded him and started asking questions. However, the hunters of the Night Guild came there and took Jinwoo with them. Then Park arrived and announced that he would be the leader of today's raid. Then they started entering the gate. Now the scene shifts again, and we are shown Jinwoo's sister's school. There, some students were sent by the teacher to bring art supplies from the school storeroom. As soon as they entered the storeroom, it was extremely dirty because that room had been closed for a long time. Just then, they saw a dungeon gate in that room. Upon seeing the gate, the other two students stepped back in fear. But one boy among them was acting overly smart. He went and stood near the gate, laughing at them, saying, "You guys are cowards. This is just a closed gate. There is no danger to us from this. Only hunters can go inside and out. Monsters cannot come out. It will take a week for this gate to open." He explained that if a dungeon boss isn't defeated within a week, a dungeon break occurs and monsters can come out. Just as the boy was saying this, a hand came out from inside, grabbed his head and crushed it. Seeing this, the other two students were literally terrified. They tried to run, but the monsters killed them too. Then, more monsters emerged from inside and started rampaging throughout the school, killing students one after another. One girl somehow managed to survive and hid in the bathroom. She called the Hunter Association and told them that monsters had entered the school. The girl was very scared. The Hunter Association told her, "Don't worry, just stay well hidden. We are sending hunters immediately. Nothing will happen to you." Then they asked her, "Can you describe what those monsters look like?" The girl replied that they look like humans but are very ugly, and their skin color is green. Hearing this, the people at the Hunter Association were shocked. They said, "What did you say? Their skin is green? That means they are orcs. They can smell you. Run away from there as fast as possible." But it was too late. The monsters killed that girl as well. Meanwhile, we see that chaos had broken out across the entire school. All the students were fleeing the school. However, some students were still trapped inside. They were hiding in classrooms, trying to protect themselves with whatever weapons they could find nearby. But the monsters were clearing the classrooms one by one. They had literally turned the whole school into a graveyard of corpses. Then we are shown Jinwoo's sister, Jinho, and her best friend Sung Yi, who is also an E-rank hunter. They were hiding in a classroom along with some other students. Now, some monsters had entered their class too. Some students tried to fight the monsters but were all killed. Then a monster noticed that one student among them had magic power. They talked among themselves, saying they should kill that one first. They were talking about Sung Yi. Sung Yi stepped forward to face them, but Jinho tried to stop her. However, Sung Yi said, "I am also a hunter. Even if my rank is E, I cannot watch my friend die like this." Then one of the monsters asked the other, "Is this the human in whom you sensed magic?" referring to Sung Yi. But the other monster said, "No, I am sensing even more magic energy here coming from within this girl," referring to Jinho. They were about to attack Jinho, but suddenly, Jinwoo's shadow soldiers emerged from within her and stopped the monster. Then they delivered such a punch that the monster tore through the school roof, flew up, and landed very far away. We see that 3 shadow soldiers had appeared. These were actually 3 of Tusk's generals whom Jinwoo had already left inside Jinho. Literally, this scene gave me goosebumps. Even now, while speaking, I'm getting goosebumps. The scene shifts, and we see the hunters of the Night Guild and Jinwoo, who had already entered the dungeon. Inside, they faced some 2-headed monsters, which the Night Guild defeated quite easily without Jinwoo's help. Then some more monsters appeared that looked like zombies. Park realized that clearing this dungeon was going to require more effort than he had thought. Then they noticed that the zombie monsters were not moving. They were just standing in one place. This doesn't normally happen because it is their nature to attack as soon as they see someone. But for some reason, they were just standing there. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was thinking to himself, "Where am I stuck? I thought high-rank monsters would come. Maybe I had too many expectations." Suddenly, Jinwoo sensed that the shadow soldiers he left inside Jinho were fighting. Jinwoo realized that Jinho must be in danger. He immediately became serious and told Park, "I have to go for urgent work. You guys handle things here." But Park said, "What are you talking about? There are so many high-rank monsters here. This could be dangerous for our team. We could even be killed. And what about the agreement we had?" Jinwoo said, "Fine, I'll do one thing. I will leave someone here whom you can trust as much as you trust me. You guys guess in the comments who Jinwoo is talking about." Then Jinwoo said he will handle everything here in my place, and he summoned Baru. He told Baru, "You have to protect all these humans." Baru asked, "What about the ones who aren't humans?" Jinwoo said, "Do whatever your heart desires." Having said that, Jinwoo rushed out from there. However, at the dungeon gate, there were many zombie monsters, and Jinwoo didn't have enough time to fight them all. So he summoned Kaizel and flew over the monsters. If you are wondering why Jinwoo didn't use his Shadow Exchange ability, let me tell you that he had used it a short while ago to get to the dungeon, and it has a cooldown of at least 3 hours, so he couldn't use it now. Therefore, riding Kaizel, he headed very fast toward Jinna's school, and used a skill on his shadow soldiers who were protecting Jinna, increasing their power by 50% so they could protect her until he arrived. Back at the school, a monster was about to attack Jinna. But then Jinwoo's shadow soldier emerged and threw the monster out of the school with a powerful punch. Then 2 more shadow soldiers emerged from Jinna to protect her, and easily killed the remaining monsters. All the students standing there were shocked. They thought monsters were fighting monsters. Jinna was also shocked. She thought Jinwoo had arrived. After this, we see that the dungeon gate had now fully opened, and we see the dungeon boss. Some monsters were telling him that some high orc monsters were helping humans, referring to Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. Hearing this, the boss said, "You guys can't even defeat 3 high orc monsters and you call yourselves high orc warriors." Then he drew his sword and said, "Take me to them." The scene shifts, and we see that A-rank dungeon where Jinwoo had left Baru to help Park's team. There, Baru and the ant soldiers were brutally killing all the monsters. Seeing this, Park's team was extremely terrified. They felt that the shadow soldiers might lose their minds and attack them, thinking they were enemies. They couldn't decide whether they should continue the raid or leave and run away. But they couldn't leave the raid because there were many media and reporters outside. If they went out, they would have to deal with them, and their guild's reputation would be ruined. So they decided to continue. After all, these are just some summons, they shouldn't be afraid of them. Just then, Beru came in front of Park, cut off a monster's head, threw it at his feet, and walked away. Park was literally terrified for a few seconds. Then the other hunters came there and asked Park, "Are you okay?" and whether they should follow these ants or not. To this, Park said, "Look at this first." The head he brought was of a high-rank knight, which would have given us a lot of trouble to kill, but he killed it in a second. Park explained that high-rank monsters drop magic cores that are very expensive, and they were going to get them without any effort, and a lot of them. "So do you still want to leave this raid?" He was just saying this when the other hunters left Park behind and started following the shadow soldiers without any orders, even saying to Park, "What are you doing there, Guildmaster? Come quickly, or you'll be left behind." Poor Park started thinking, "What greedy team members I have." After this, the scene shifts back to Jinna's school, and we see that the dungeon boss has finally come face to face with Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. The other monsters were cheering for him. Then he attacked Jinwoo's shadow soldier with his sword, but the soldier blocked his sword. Seeing this, the boss was impressed and said, "I have to admit you blocked my sword, but you are still very weak," and saying this, he cut Jinwoo's shadow soldier in half. But he noticed that the soldier was regenerating again. Seeing this, he began to wonder if it was some kind of spell. Then he cut them again and again, but they kept regenerating every time. The boss had cut them thousands of times, but they kept regenerating. We see that in his mind he was repeatedly receiving the command to kill humans, but he was tangled up with these monsters. He had become very irritated, his head was splitting from the voices in his mind. He thought, "I have to finish this fight quickly." Then he realized that these beings were being controlled by magic. So why don't I just kill the one who is controlling them? Then they will die on their own. He moved to attack Jinna. But Jinwoo's shadow soldiers surrounded him. So the boss ordered his orcs to keep attacking the shadow soldiers because they are powerless while regenerating. Following this, all the high orcs surrounded those 3 shadow soldiers and started attacking, keeping them busy. The boss monster took advantage of this and attacked Jinna, grabbing her by the head and lifting her up. He said, "You are the one controlling these orcs, right? I can sense magic inside you," and was about to kill Jinna when he felt a strong aura rushing toward him very fast. It was such a strong aura that even the boss monster's hands and feet started trembling, and he dropped Jinna. He looked at the sky and saw something coming toward him, also very angry. Then, a massive explosion occurred, spreading smoke everywhere. Jinna noticed someone's hand on her head, and when she looked up, it was Jinwoo, who said, "You are safe now." After the smoke cleared, the boss monster saw a very powerful human standing there, extremely angry. The boss started telling Jinwoo his name and said, "I am the leader of the Red Blood clan," but Jinwoo, full of rage, pointed his finger at him and said, "You, shut up and stand there quietly." I mean, man, what a brutal insult. This scene literally gave me goosebumps. I don't know if I'm explaining it properly to you all, but I'm trying my best to make you feel what I am feeling through my explanation. If you also got goosebumps in this scene, do tell in the comments so I know I'm not the only one feeling it. Anyway, after this, Jinwoo went and hugged Jinna and said, "Sorry I'm late, but now I won't let anything happen to you." Jinna also held Jinwoo and started crying. Seeing Jinna cry made Jinwoo even angrier. He called Igris and told him, take care of Jinho for a while. Then Jinwoo summoned some more of his shadow soldiers and told them to take the other students out of the school. Meanwhile, one of the monsters tried to move forward to attack. But Jinwoo, looking at them with pure rage, said, no one moves from their spot. Then, one by one, the shadow soldiers started helping to evacuate all the students from the school. The dungeon boss said to Jinwoo, so those immortals were your soldiers, and asked, who are you exactly? And how do you know our language? But Jinwoo gave him no reply, just looking at them angrily. Seeing this, the boss monster realized he had no intention of answering their questions. Therefore, he ordered his army to attack Jinwoo. Then they all moved forward to attack. One of the monsters was eager to die early and attacked Jinwoo first. But Jinwoo twisted and broke his fingers. Then, grabbing his hand, he swung him 360 degrees and slammed him onto the ground. Then, dragging him forward, he crushed his head with 1 foot like an ant. I mean, man, who kills someone so brutally? Jinwoo's anger was worth seeing. I don't think I've seen Jinwoo this angry before. If you remember any scene where Jinwoo was even angrier, tell me in the comments. Anyway, after this the other monsters were terrified. But they still attacked together. However, in just 1 second, Jinwoo finished them all off. Now all the monsters were dead, except for the boss. Everything happened so fast that the boss was also confused. How can this guy kill my entire army in 1 second? He was scared to death. Then, without wasting time, Jinwoo grabbed the boss monster's head, slammed it into the wall and asked angrily, why do you go around killing humans? What do you get by killing them? To which the monster said, voices constantly come into our minds telling us to kill humans. So Jinwoo said, oh, if that's the case, then don't the voices tell you to kill me when you see me? But all the monster's arrogance had vanished. He said, please forgive me. But Jinwoo angrily pulled out his daggers and said, answer my questions first. Does the voice not tell you to kill me? But he just kept saying, forgive me. To which Jinwoo said, I thought so, that your mind doesn't consider me human either. But that doesn't matter now. I will forgive you. However, don't make the mistake of thinking there will be no pain in my process of forgiving you. Saying this much, Jinwoo killed him. After this, the scene shifts to that A-rank gate where the Night Guild with Baru's help had cleared the dungeon very quickly and reached the boss room. There, they faced the boss of the undead army along with 10 Death Knights. Their boss was very strong. Park could feel that he was clearly as strong as an S-rank hunter. Therefore, defeating that boss was impossible for them. And here we see that many zombie monsters were also coming from between them. This meant they couldn't even go out now. To stop those zombie monsters, a hunter used his skill to build a wall. But he said, I won't be able to hold this for more than 5 minutes. All the Night Guild members were in a bad state. But just then, our brother Baru arrived in full swag. The dungeon boss was surprised to see Baru, and said, why does the monarch's personal shadow army want to attack us? To this Baru said, our king has chosen us. But the monster said, that can't be. I will personally go and talk to the Shadow Monarch. But Baru ignored his words, attacked directly, plunged one hand into his chest and said, you have to be alive to speak. And after that he pulled a crystal out of his chest and destroyed it, causing the boss to die immediately, and along with him, all the Death Knights and zombie monsters died too. Seeing all this, the Night Guild members were also shocked. They couldn't believe Baru defeated such a powerful boss with just 1 attack. Park was also saying, I knew he was strong, but I didn't know he was this strong. If that's the case, Hunter Jinwoo won't even need to enter the dungeon, his summons alone will clear the dungeon. Park was thinking that controlling these strong summons must require a lot of mana, and Jinwoo has an entire army. This means he alone is stronger than even the big guilds of our country. Then Park got an idea. He told his manager, we should reach out for an alliance with Hunter Jinwoo's guild, because Jinwoo needs our guild. But his manager got confused and said, seeing what happened in today's raid, do you really think Hunter Jinwoo needs our guild? To which Park said, it seems you've forgotten the law. To enter any dungeon, a team of at least 10 hunters is required, and summons cannot be counted as hunters. This means Jinwoo needs manpower, which we will provide, meaning we won't have to fight and there will be no risk. Only profit. Man, these Night Guild people are all greedy. Anyway, the scene now shifts to the scene outside the school, where the fight has now ended. There are many ambulances outside the school taking injured students to the hospital. Many students were also killed in this incident, so their parents were also crying a lot. Mourning was spread everywhere. Then we see the chairman and Jinwoo, who are in a car. The chairman was telling Jinwoo, many students died in this incident, but these casualties would have been even higher if you hadn't reached there. You did a very good job again. Then he gave his phone to Jinwoo and showed him data on how in the last 6 months, too many gates have started opening. However, the surprising thing is that not only are the number of gates increasing, but now more people's powers are awakening than before, and the number of hunters is also increasing. It feels like someone is perfectly balancing all this. Then the chairman showed Jinwoo some documents and said, Japan, USA, China, Russia, France, Germany, and even bigger nations want to call you to their country, and I know that some people must have already contacted you by now. Now, the people at the Hunter Association don't have the right to stop them. But can you please tell me this much, that you won't leave South Korea? Because South Korea cannot lose a talented hunter like you. We are already short on hunters, and now gates have started opening more than before. To which Jinwoo said, fine, but I have one condition. Will you give me permission to enter high-rank dungeon gates alone? At this, the chairman was shocked and said, you want me to remove the requirement for a minimum number of people to enter any dungeon, just for you? Jinwoo said, yes, can this be possible? To which the chairman said, it's not impossible either. Just give me some time. After that, Jinwoo got out of the car and left. Here we see Jinho, who was talking on the call with an A-rank hunter and was asking her to join the Ajin Guild. That hunter was actually Jinho's cousin, and she was a celebrity and very popular, so she had no interest in dungeon raids. Still, Jinho tells her, just come to our office once and talk to our guild master. After this, she comes to the office, and Jinho introduces her to Jinwoo. She is shocked and says, why didn't you tell me before that this is Hunter Sung Jinwoo's guild? I can't believe Hunter Jinwoo is standing right in front of me. Jinwoo replies, what is there to be so surprised about? You are a celebrity yourself. Jinwoo is also slightly shocked that she is an A-rank hunter. Then he tells her, Jinho will give you all the details related to the guild. The scene then shifts to the Hunter Association meeting room, where the chairman is telling the other association members about Jinwoo's request and talking about changing the law for him. However, the other members aren't ready for this and start saying that Jinwoo isn't an experienced hunter. They ask, do you want us to give Hunter Jinwoo special treatment just because he is strong? To this, the chairman says, yes, I want to give him special treatment because he is strong. If we don't fulfill his demand, some other country will, and we will lose a strong hunter again. Last time, the Americans took a talented hunter, like Dongsoo, right from under our noses. If we make the same mistake again, we might lose Hunter Jinwoo too. Now the scene shifts, and we see Jinwoo and Jinho preparing to enter a gate. No one else is with them, just some shadow soldiers. This meant that Jinwoo had now received permission to go on raids alone. The chairman's manager, Jinchul, is also there measuring the mana of all those shadow soldiers. He discovers that all his shadow soldiers are B rank or above, which easily fulfilled the requirement to enter any raid. We then find out that Jinchul was also going to go with them on the raid because it was the chairman's order. He wanted to confirm if Jinwoo's raids are truly safe and if he really doesn't need any hunters, meaning whether he is enough on his own or not. Jinwoo says, fine, I have no problem. A while later, we are shown the scene inside the dungeon, where Jinchul is left speechless seeing the fight inside. His mind couldn't process how all this was possible. How could someone be so strong? He was watching all this while Jinwoo's shadow soldiers were fighting. Jinwoo hadn't done anything yet. His shadow soldiers were killing all the monsters. Jinwoo didn't even need to lift a finger. After this, we see some ant soldiers eating the dead monsters. Jinwoo kicks them and says, what are you doing? Do you even know how precious the magic crystals inside them are? Then we see some of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers doing mining work as well. Jinchul is extremely shocked seeing all this because he was seeing something like this for the first time. That a hunter is so powerful he can easily clear an A-rank gate on his own and has the capability to do everything from retrieving monster bodies to mining like he's a one-man army. Then we see that they have reached the dungeon boss. Jinwoo calls back all his summons. He is going to fight the boss himself. Seeing this, Jinchul asks Jinwoo, your shadow soldiers are strong enough to defeat the boss alone, so why are you going to fight yourself? To this, Jinwoo pulls out his daggers and says, if I leave everything to them, how will my skills improve? He then moves forward and defeats the boss in a single attack. After this, Jinwoo's level increases, and some skills also upgrade. For example, the cooldown for the Shadow Exchange skill decreased from 3 hours to 2 hours. Jinwoo then says arise to the boss and extracts its shadow. He notices that its rank is Elite Knight, meaning like Tusk, but its level is 13. This meant it was a bit stronger than Tusk. He also notices that its size has become smaller after becoming a shadow, which had never happened before. He names it Jima, and then prepares to leave the dungeon. After this, we see many media people outside the gate. They see a monster coming out of the gate. We see that it is none other than Tusk, who is bringing out the dead body of the dungeon boss monster. But as soon as he comes out, the media people start taking photos, and Tusk also smiles and starts posing. After this, we see Jinho giving all these reports to the chairman. He was in a terrible state, meaning he had seen so much in one day that he hadn't seen in his entire life until now. The chairman is also shocked hearing this and says, "I can understand, even a hunter of your level would be surprised seeing all this." Jinho says, "Sir, what I just saw wasn't a raid, it was a one-sided slaughter. Forget attacking. The monsters weren't even given a chance to lift a finger. That's how strong Jinwoo and his army are." The chairman says, "Fine, no problem. You go and rest first." Then we see the chairman also smiling, thinking about Jinwoo, that our decision wasn't wrong. Jinwoo is a guild in himself, and he thinks that very soon he could become not just Korea's, but the world's #1 hunter. Then the scene shifts to Tokyo, Japan, where everyone is looking toward the sky. We see that a massive gate has just opened in the sky, covering all of Tokyo. No one had ever seen such a big gate until today. Everyone is talking about whether this is really a gate or the end of the world. We see that the Japanese Hunter Association has called all the big guilds of Japan. We see members of the S-rank Draw Guild there, meaning the other 4 hunters of Goto Ryuji's guild, who survived after the Jeju Island raid. They are receiving a lot of hate there. People are saying anything to their faces. Then a discussion about this gate is happening in the Hunter Association meeting room. Why hasn't any hunter entered the gate yet? What will happen if a dungeon break occurs? To this, their chairman says that just S-rank hunters won't be enough. To clear an S-rank gate, we need the help of a national-level hunter. Otherwise, if we underestimate it, the same thing will happen as what happened in the Jeju Island raid. The other hunters suggest taking help from Thomas Andre. But they don't have the money to hire a national-level hunter like Thomas Andre. On top of that, gates are opening more than before, so all countries are running short of their own hunters. So who will help them? Then the Draw Guild hunters suggest there is one hunter whose help we can take. His name is Yuri Orlov, and he is famous for his strong barrier magic, which is almost impossible to break. The scene then shifts, and we see Jinwoo parking his car in the parking lot. Just then, he sees Hunter Cha there. Hunter Cha also tries to run away after seeing Jinwoo. But Jinwoo suddenly appears in front of her and asks, "Why are you running away after seeing me? And if you wanted to run, why did you come near my office?" Cha says, No, it's not like that. I just came to get my car." Jinwoo then remembers, right, last time he used Shadow Exchange, so the car must have been left here. Jinwoo then starts to leave. Then Cha says, "Do you have a little time? Actually, Hunter Min Byung-gu asked me to give you a message. And it's related to your power." Hearing this, Jinwoo is shocked and says, "Wait, we should go somewhere private to talk." He takes her to his office and asks, "Now tell me, when and how did all this happen?" Cha says, "That day on Jeju Island, when I was unconscious, I heard a voice saying, 'Please tell Jinwoo he has to be more careful about his power.' It was none other than Byung-gu, and he was also saying that Jinwoo's power is very strong and very dangerous too." After saying this, Byung-gu disappears. After this, the scene shifts, and we see Jinwoo in a dungeon thinking about all these things, that I myself want to know the source of my power, which will be discovered very soon. Jinho is also with Jinwoo. They are both chilling while all the shadow soldiers are clearing the dungeon together. Then Jinho asks, "Is your sister okay after what happened at the school that day?" Jinwoo says, "The doctor has told her to rest for now, but I have left my most trusted shadow soldier with her, so there's not much to worry about." Here, Jinwoo is talking about Beru. Then Jinwoo remembers that when his level reached 101, he got a new skill he hadn't used yet. With this skill, Jinwoo can look through the shadow soldiers he has left inside people, meaning he can see and hear everything happening around them. So he uses this skill to look through Beru and sees that his sister is sleeping soundly. But Mr. Beru is watching a K-drama on TV. Seeing this, Jinwoo thinks, so this is the kind of TV he watches. No wonder he talks in such a funny way these days. Then Jinwoo uses this skill to check on other people too. He sees his mother in the market. He sees Jinho. Then he goes to see Hunter Cha. He sees that Cha is taking a bath in the bathroom. Seeing this, Jinwoo gets completely embarrassed and immediately stops using the skill. Jinwoo is blushing all over. I think this was the first time we see Jinwoo blushing. I don't think we've ever seen Jinwoo blush like this before. Anyway, after this, Jinwoo is thinking, I should apologize to Cha one day. Then Jinho says, "Have you heard about that S-rank gate that opened in Japan? No one has entered it yet, and there are less than 3 days left for the dungeon break. They are calling hunters from every corner of the world. Haven't they contacted you yet?" To this, Jinwoo says, "Yes, they have contacted me, but I haven't decided about it yet." We see that there were only 27 hours left to enter the Temple of the Double Dungeon, so Jinwoo wanted to go there first. He wanted to know the answers to all his questions first. The scene then shifts to Japan, where we see that S-rank hunter. They are talking about Yuri Orlov in the beginning, that his barrier is very strong. The Draw Guild hunters are also seen there. There is a lot of conversation going on between them. I won't tell you in that much detail, but basically, they wanted to hire Yuri. But Yuri says, I will take $10 million per day. In return, I will keep the gate closed for you with my barrier for as many days as you want. The Draw Guild members are shocked and say, are you crazy? Isn't $10 million per day a bit too much? To which Yuri says, this is a very small amount compared to Thomas Andre. He would take much more than this. Anyway, do as you wish, you have to save your country or your country's money. The Draw Guild says, will your barrier really work? How do we believe this? Then Yuri creates a barrier around the two S-rank hunters standing there and says, you guys can't even move a finger unless I want you to. And indeed, something like that happens. His barrier is so strong that both those S-rank hunters aren't able to do anything, as if someone had frozen them. After this, they trust Yuri's ability. Here we again see Jinwoo leaving his house because finally, the gate to the temple of the double dungeon had opened. After this, Jinna's school is shown, which is now closed, but another gate had opened right outside the school. People are talking about how two gates opening consecutively in the same place is quite unexpected. Anyway, we see that Jinwoo also arrives there and asks a hunter, when did this gate open? She says it has already been 3 days. But it's nothing to worry about. This is just a C-rank gate, and the raid team already went inside 2 hours ago. To which Jinwoo says, you must cancel the raid immediately and call them back. That hunter says this is just a C-rank gate, we've already confirmed it. But Jinwoo says the raid team is in danger, if this raid isn't stopped now, they might even die. Having said that, he goes straight inside the dungeon. Inside the dungeon we see some hunters who find a large gate. They think this must be the boss room. But the gate wouldn't open. They tried everything. Just then Jinwoo arrives behind them and says, this is a trap. They are scared at first, but then they see that this is the S-rank hunter Sung Jinwoo. They ask, what are you doing here? Jinwoo says, I am extra backup. From here, this dungeon is even more dangerous. You guys go back, I'll handle it. Saying this much, he comes to the gate and sees that it's locked. So he takes a key out of his inventory and opens the gate. Seeing this, everyone is shocked and Jinwoo starts going inside, and the leader of their group says the rights to this dungeon belong to our guild? So you can't tell us to leave the dungeon like this. Jinwoo says, fine, then I won't stop you. If anyone wants to go inside, they can. Then their leader says, I will go inside, and as soon as he enters, a statue comes to attack very fast, but before the attack lands, Jinwoo pulls him out. Somehow his life is saved. Jinwoo says, do you still want to go inside? There will be even more dangerous monsters inside. So you guys get out quickly and inform the Hunter Association that a double dungeon has opened again. Saying this much, he goes inside, and as soon as he enters, the gate closes. Inside, he sees that nothing has changed. Everything is just as it was the first time. The same statues, the same stone table with rules, and sitting in the middle of them all, their main god. Jinwoo remembers his entire past. But now he was much stronger than before. Jinwoo goes and stands near the statue at the stone table and says, so you are the one who has been controlling everything. Look, I've come. Why are you quiet now? The scene then shifts to Japan, where we see Yuri, whom the Japanese have hired. He was now going to put up a barrier near that S-rank gate. Media people are all around him. They are asking him, how will you do all this? What's the plan? Yuri explains that he will create a massive barrier around the gate so that no monster can come out. But to do this, he needs a lot of mana. That's why he had collected truckloads of mana crystals and was going to create a barrier by absorbing them, which was going to be much stronger than his normal barriers. All this is happening live. We see the chairman of Korea also watching this live. Jinchul is with him. Then the chairman asks Jinchul, where is Jinwoo these days? Jinchul says that he is currently inside some dungeon, and they talk more about Jinwoo and his guild, how a small guild is doing things that even big guilds can't do. Just then, Jinchul gets a call and receives information about the double dungeon, and finds out that Jinwoo has also gone inside that dungeon. The scene shifts back to the double dungeon, where we see the statue at the stone table, meaning the architect who brings out his wings and breaks the stone table where the rules were written and says, you've finally arrived. Jinwoo says, so you were the one who called me? The architect says yes. Then Jinwoo asks, are you some monster? To which the architect says, your question is wrong. You should ask, who am I, and what are you, and says now your final test is going to happen. After which, if you are still standing alive, I will answer all your questions, which will be your reward. After this, we see that all the statues there surround Jinwoo. Jinwoo also gets ready and calls his shadow army. But he fails. At this, the architect says, You can't use them. You have to fight alone. I only want to test your ability, not your servants. We see that Jinwoo couldn't use any kind of potion, meaning he couldn't even do health recovery, nor could he go out using his Shadow Exchange skill until this test ended. After this, all those statues start moving forward. Jinwoo sees that he could access his inventory, meaning he could use weapons. So he thinks, then I'll defeat them easily alone. Just then, a statue attacks with its large sword, which Jinwoo dodges immediately and breaks the sword with a punch. He throws the pieces of the broken sword at that statue, which go right into the middle of its head. Then, flying in the air, he breaks its head with a kick. Then, pulling out his daggers, he starts killing the other statues as well, one after another. All those statues were very strong, and their numbers were large. But it didn't matter to Jinwoo. He was killing them all quite easily. He was thinking, I've been waiting for this moment for so many days. Seeing all this, the architect is also impressed. He says, so it's true. You have grown quite a lot with this human body. You are truly quite amazing. But this test has only just begun. I can't judge so quickly. After this, we see that the biggest statue that was sitting gets up. It was 10 times larger in size than all these other statues. We see the architect flying in the air, watching the whole fight from above, and he says, now it's time to worship your god. The scene then shifts to the chairman's office, where we see that the chairman of Japan has come to meet him. His name is Matsumoto. He shows a contract paper and says, it is written in this contract that we won't take even one of the magic cores that we were supposed to get from the Jeju Island raid. To which the chairman says, why so? Matsumoto says, in return, we need Jinwoo's help to clear that S-rank gate. But the chairman says, then we can't help, because Jinwoo isn't a part of the Hunter Association. But Matsumoto still says, quote, I understand, but we can't contact Jinwoo directly without the Hunter Association's permission. We aren't saying that you talk to him for us. Rather, we want to be given just one chance to talk to him and negotiate. The chairman is thinking about all this. They are ready to spend so much money just to meet Jinwoo. Has there really been a lack of strong S-rank hunters in their country after Goto Ryuji left? However, this offer isn't bad for Jinwoo. Until now, all these conversations were happening through translators of both countries, but the chairman says, first let's discuss after removing all these translators. At this, Matsumoto is shocked and says, you know Japanese? So the chairman says, yes, my father used to have a small business in Japan when I was young. Then, everyone else except those two leaves the room. After this, the chairman says, if you are thinking of doing some kind of trick, you should leave here right now. At this, Matsumoto is confused. What are you saying? So the chairman says, I know the Draw Guild members have broken off whatever relationship they had with you. Hearing this, Matsumoto gets very angry and says, how do you know all this? To which the chairman says, it's obvious because they stopped taking funds from the Hunter Association and are working only on government subsidies. The chairman starts exposing all his secrets one by one because Matsumoto was that kind of guy. Then the chairman pulls out a transceiver and says, this is from Japan, which we got from Goto's team. This meant that whatever conversation Goto and Matsumoto had was recorded. The chairman says, did you really think we wouldn't notice? And he gets completely angry and breaks the device and says, because of all these tricks of yours, you've ruined your reputation. You have put not only your country but all of Asia in danger. You should say thank you to Jinwoo. Now the scene shifts back to Jinwoo. He was killing all the statues, but they just wouldn't end. After a while, Jinwoo gets stuck between many statues. Behind them was that big statue too. They were all attacking together. Jinwoo realizes, now I can't dodge all these at once. So he catches all the statues at once with his Dominator's touch. But the big statue fires a laser beam from its eyes, which reaches Jinwoo by piercing through all the statues standing in front of him. Jinwoo survives, even after taking a direct hit. Then the big statue tries to crush Jinwoo with its feet. But Jinwoo increases his speed even more and starts moving up toward its head to attack. That statue sees Jinwoo and is about to do a laser attack again. But Jinwoo also notices and gets to the top by coming from the side. He delivers a powerful attack with both his daggers. But it doesn't make much difference to that statue, only a few scratches appear. But Jinwoo doesn't give up. He thinks, if I can't cut it with my daggers, I'll break it with my hands, and he climbs onto its face and delivers a very powerful punch which starts breaking the statue's face. Then he starts raining punches down one after another. After a while, he finally kills that statue. During the fight, his level had also reached 103, so he had become even stronger. Then he also kills the remaining small statues. Seeing all this, the architect is quite impressed and says, very well, you are quite strong, I admit it. But Jinwoo says, leave all that, you fulfill your promise. I have completed the test. But the architect says, no, the test isn't complete yet. Look carefully, I am still standing. I am your final test. You have to defeat me. after which a notification appears in Jinwoo's system saying that if you don't defeat the enemy within 10 minutes, your heart will stop. Jinwoo says, "What is all this? Who are you anyway?" To which the architect says, "I am the creator of your system. I made this system for you, and I can control it as I wish." Now outside the gate we see Jinchul, who has brought some backup from the Hunter Association. He knows that inside these people will be of no use against Jinwoo. Still, he called them just in case. As soon as Jinchul goes near the gate, he feels a strong aura. He realizes that this raid is not within his capability. He immediately tells a hunter standing there to contact whatever guild is nearby. That hunter says that another gate has opened nearby where the Hunters Guild members are preparing to go, meaning Jongin and Chaein's guild. Jinchul immediately tells them to contact them, saying this is an emergency situation, so they will have to leave that dungeon and come here. Now inside we again see Jinwoo, whose fight had started, but this time his opponent is much stronger. He suddenly appears in front of Jinwoo. All this is so fast that Jinwoo also can't notice. After that, the architect hits Jinwoo with a powerful punch, which sends Jinwoo flying far away, and before he could get up, the architect comes near Jinwoo again and is about to punch with both hands this time. Jinwoo tries to escape somehow, but he doesn't have enough time. But he somehow stops both his hands at the last moment. Seeing this, the architect is also surprised and says, "Wow, what a thing, you turned out to be stronger than me," and hits him with his third hand, because he has 8 hands. But Jinwoo was also ready this time. Even after taking the punch, he didn't move from his spot at all this time and hits the architect with a powerful counterpunch, which sends the architect far away, but he handles himself and says, "Who would have thought fighting a human would be this interesting?" Jinwoo is also thinking to himself that this opponent is quite strong compared to the others, but I can do this. Then he says to the architect, "You still haven't answered my questions. Why did you design this system, and why did you choose me as the player?" The architect says, "I can understand that you have many questions, and you're thinking that if you kill me, you'll never get answers. So let me tell you, it doesn't matter whether you kill me or not. You will get the answers to your questions in any case. This is already decided." After this, Jinwoo sees that fighting in close range is becoming a disadvantage. So using his ruler's authority, he does a long-range attack. But the architect does the same attack on Jinwoo. This meant that whatever attacks Jinwoo could do, the architect could also do all those attacks. Because of course he was the one who designed his system and gave the skills. Jinwoo realizes that long-range attacks are also useless. Jinwoo asks again, "How can you give me this kind of power? And why was I chosen?" So the architect says, "The truth is that I haven't chosen you, rather it's the opposite. I am just a simple designer of your system." Jinwoo sees that now only 6 minutes and 19 seconds are left. So there isn't much time. That's why there was no option other than to do close-range attacks. Here the architect also pulls out weapons in all 8 hands and attacks Jinwoo. Jinwoo is dodging somehow, but after a while he notices that his senses have started becoming sharper than before, and he is predicting all his attacks directly and is able to dodge easily. And what's more, he has now started matching his speed. Seeing this, the architect is also shocked. This can't be possible. How can he dodge my attacks? And how did he suddenly become faster than before? Here, Jinwoo is not only able to dodge, but also starts attacking and cuts off one of the architect's hands with his daggers. The architect thinks, "Now I understand why he was chosen to be the player." He gets angry and says, "You are just an ordinary human. How dare you?" Here we see that now only 3 minutes and 45 seconds were left, and the architect, instead of fighting directly himself, was sending all the other statues so they could waste Jinwoo's time. But Jinwoo, using his ruler's authority, throws all the other statues far away at once, and he has only 3 minutes and 15 seconds left. He runs back to the architect and cuts off 2 more of his hands with his daggers. But while he is busy fighting the architect, a shield statue comes from behind and attacks Jinwoo's shoulder with its shield. Jinwoo immediately flies in the air, crushes its head with his elbow, and immediately turns back and attacks the architect, cutting off 2 more of his hands. But now he has only 2 minutes and 13 seconds left. But Jinwoo doesn't stop here. He punches the architect and throws him far away, climbs over him, puts his dagger on his neck and says, "I won now." After which the architect finally says, "Fine, I lost. The test is over now. And as for your questions, the answer is within you." And Jinwoo gets a notification, "Would you like to retrieve the data stored in your memory?" Jinwoo thinks, "So all the data was stored in my memory all this time?" Then he accepts it. Now as soon as he accepts, a very bright light surrounds him, and he goes into a different world entirely. There he sees an army of many monsters. All the types of monsters he had fought until today were there. Jinwoo sees that they are looking toward the sky. So Jinwoo also looks up and sees a purple sky, and many gates are open above. Seeing this, Jinwoo is shocked. He thinks, if so many monsters come to Earth at once, humanity has no chance of surviving. But here, those monsters' opponents are not humans. We see many silver soldiers starting to come from those gates. Although their numbers are small compared to the monsters, it doesn't matter because they are very strong. A fight starts between them, and the silver soldiers are killing all the monsters quite easily. Only a short time has passed since the war started, and the silver soldiers have killed almost all the monsters. Rivers of blood start flowing across the battlefield, and the sound of screaming and shouting starts echoing. But just then, something unexpected happens there. From the monster's side, a soldier emerges in a shadow and says, "Arise," after which, all the monsters that had died there come back to life and become a part of his army. Seeing this, Jinwoo thinks, "This is my power, but even I can't extract so many shadow soldiers." This meant that this was none other than the Shadow Monarch, and now he had added all the dead monsters to his shadow army. After this, the fight that the Silver Army was winning one-sidedly until now starts to be easily lost. The Shadow Monarch and his immortal army kill almost all the silver soldiers. They were about to win when something unexpected happens again. But now the scene shifts, and we see Jinchul outside the gate of the double dungeon, who has brought members of the Hunters Guild with him. Jongin is sensing very strong magic power from outside itself. He asks Jinchul, "Are you sure Jinwoo is here?" Jinchul says yes, absolutely. After that, as soon as they open the gate, everyone is shocked seeing the destruction inside. Then their eyes fall on the architect and the other statues. Jongin says, "So that means the stone statue was really real." The architect also sees them and says, "What is this? As far as I remember, I haven't invited humans." Everyone is shocked to see the statue speaking, that too in a human language. Most of the hunters among them are A rank and B rank, so they had never seen a speaking monster. They start talking among themselves. Just then the architect says, "Shut up, or you'll ruin the king's sleep." Everyone is confused and asks, "What king?" Then their eyes fall on Jinwoo, who is just standing in one place without moving. He is still lost in the other world. They are just looking at Jinwoo when the architect suddenly attacks them and kills 3 hunters right where they stand with one attack. They don't even get a chance to react. Seeing this, Hunter Char is quite shocked. The architect says, "You guys are quite strong. I will offer your sacrifice to the king." After which, whoever is injured there, the healer starts healing them immediately, and we see the other statues also coming to surround them. The big statue is with them too. It starts throwing laser beams from its eyes, but they somehow survive. After which, Jongin goes to fight that big statue, and tells the other hunters to defeat the small statues while that big one is distracted. But very soon they realize that these statues are quite strong. The small statues that Jinwoo was killing in an instant, all those statues combined, the other hunters weren't able to give even a scratch, not even Jinchul. Then Jongin thinks, this won't work. Jinwoo has to be woken up now. And he does a fire attack on Jinwoo so that Jinwoo wakes up, but the architect comes in between that attack and stops it and says, "How dare you wake up the king?" I mean, man, these people came as backup, and in 2 minutes their condition became so bad that they started needing backup from the person they came as backup for. Anyway, here the other hunters are stopping the statues together somehow, and telling Hunter Char to wake up Jinwoo. And she is also going to wake up Jinwoo when the scene shifts again and we see Jinwoo's memory. There, Jinwoo sees that the Shadow Monarch is about to win, when another large gate opens and many monsters start coming from it. Jinwoo notices that all those monsters are from the Demon Castle, meaning all the monsters he fought from the first floor to the 100th floor in the Demon Castle were there. All the noble clan monsters were also there. Ezel's clan was there too. But the surprising thing was that they had come to fight the Shadow Monarch, not the Silver Soldiers. This meant the Shadow Monarch hadn't been fighting on the monsters' side until now. Jinwoo is confused seeing all this. But here, the Shadow Monarch's army finishes off all those monsters in just a few moments. Only one leader remains from their side, which is Demon King Baran, whom Jinwoo had fought in the Demon Castle. The Shadow Monarch moves toward him and asks, "Why did you betray me?" At this, Baran just starts laughing and says, "I regret that I couldn't kill you." Hearing this, the Shadow Monarch grabs him by the neck, lifts him up and is about to kill him, but he suddenly drops him down. Then Jinwoo notices that he is in the Shadow Monarch's body, and he feels that he now has 2 hearts, meaning there was 1 heart before, and now there is another black heart which was the Shadow Monarch's. After this, he gets a notification from the system. Memory update successful. Now we are shown inside the dungeon again, where Hunter Char is going to wake up Jinwoo. But the architect comes in between again and says, "Don't try to ruin my plan, you people." But Char doesn't listen, draws her sword and attacks. The architect also pulls out his weapon and dodges her attack, then cuts Char's hand slightly with his other weapon. Char starts bleeding. Here, the other hunters also have a similar situation. Whatever attacks were being made, the statues were predicting their moves beforehand. Even Jong-in, who is an S-rank hunter, is struggling. Cha ignores the architect and goes to wake Jinwoo again. But the architect wasn't going to let go so easily. He attacks again. But Cha somehow survives. Just then we see Jinwoo's shadow soldier trying to come out from inside Cha. But he isn't able to come out. Seeing this, the architect says, "How did that shadow soldier come inside you? Whatever it is, according to the rules of this room, he can never come out." Then he asks, "What is your relationship with Jinwoo?" Cha says he is my friend, and I've come to save him. The architect says, "Very well, I will give you a chance today because on this very day the world's greatest monarch is going to be born any moment, so I will give you a chance to witness this glorious moment. And as for the other hunters, they must die." Just then a voice comes from behind. "Who said that?" The architect turns back in confusion to look, and suddenly Jinwoo appears in front of his face and delivers a massive punch, after which the map of his face gets ruined. Then he climbs over him and says, "What exactly did you do with my body?" Seeing Jinwoo, finally, all the hunters breathe a sigh of relief. The architect is surprised to see Jinwoo and says, "You can't be the king. How can you take his place? Even after getting the Black Heart, how have you not changed?" Jinwoo starts thinking, oh, so this is called the Black Heart. Because of this, he was feeling much more magic power than before. Jinwoo also gets a notification from the system. Now, because of the Black Heart, his mana had increased, meaning a lot. Before the Black Heart, Jinwoo's mana was around 9,400, and after getting the Black Heart, it directly increases by more than 100,000. This meant the total mana had become, just think how much stronger Jinwoo has become than before. Now he becomes directly 10 times stronger. Jinwoo, seeing the architect's reaction, understands that he didn't want me to get the Black Heart, and even if I did, it wasn't to make me strong. Actually, a deal had happened between the Shadow Monarch and the architect. The architect wanted the wish of immortality from the Shadow Monarch, which only the Shadow Monarch could give, and the Shadow Monarch wanted a human vessel. So he had chosen Jinwoo and told the architect to build a system for him, and in return he would make him immortal, and when Jinwoo was ready, the Shadow Monarch would take over his body. This meant Jinwoo would essentially die, and the Shadow Monarch would come back to life again. In return, he would fulfill the architect's wish. But seeing Jinwoo's potential, the Shadow Monarch changed his mind, and instead of taking over his body, he gave some of his power to Jinwoo, meaning that Black Heart. So in a way, the Shadow Monarch had truly double-crossed the architect here. That's why he was fuming. Anyway, Jinwoo doesn't know all these things, and it hasn't been told in the story yet, but I told you so that you can understand better. Now after this, Jinwoo starts asking many questions of the architect. "You said that you were against choosing me as the player. Why so? What is your intention?" But the architect is still in shock. He just keeps saying, "No, it can't be like this. The Shadow Monarch can't do this to me. You don't even know what you've done. The other monarchs will never approve of this decision." He was saying many other things. But Jinwoo says, "I don't want to hear your nonsense. Tell me directly what I'm asking." So the architect says, "I can't believe how he did this to me. Now I understand why he chose you." Here we see those statues that were quiet until now, standing with instruments. They weren't attacking anyone until now. But now all those statues also start moving forward. The architect says, "If you kill me, all these statues won't let anyone out of here alive." Jinwoo says, "If that's the case, why don't I kill you first and then these puppets of yours?" At which the architect says, "If you kill the creator of your system." Jinwoo says in the middle, "Then will I become an E-rank hunter again?" To be honest, I was also thinking about this. But as far as I know, even if the creator of the system dies, the system has already been built. It can't suddenly disappear. Hearing this, the architect gets even more furious. He says, "If that's the case, I will destroy your system itself." And he tries to destroy Jinwoo's system, but he sees a notification. The system has blocked the creator's access. Seeing this, he loses it even more. He says, "No, it can't be like this." But now we see that Jinwoo could control his system himself. He didn't need the architect anymore. Therefore, with one final attack, he kills the architect. After this, we see some hunters outside the gate talking. It's been hours since the Hunters Guild members went in. Why haven't they come out yet? What's happening inside? Then they see someone coming from inside. All the hunters who went inside were in very bad condition. Seeing this, the hunters outside are shocked, and start thinking what happened inside, that their condition is so bad. This is just a C-rank gate. Even S-rank hunters Jong-in and Cha were quite badly injured. Then Jincho comes forward and tells the hunters standing there to help in bringing out the bodies of the dead hunters. Hearing this, everyone is even more shocked that hunters even died in this mission. Then we see that Jinwoo also comes out of the dungeon. There were still many questions in his mind. Here we see that they bring out all the dead bodies. A total of 20 hunters had died in this raid. Jinchul says, if this dungeon had broken, the casualties would have been higher, and Jinchul was regretting his decision. He says, it's my fault that I called the Hunters Guild members to help and so many people died. If our team had understood in the beginning that this is a double dungeon, something like this wouldn't have happened. Then he asks Jinwoo, how did you know this is a double dungeon? Jinwoo was now tired of lying. He didn't want to lie anymore. He says, the dungeon itself called me, at which Jinchul asks in confusion, what do you mean the dungeon called you? So Jinwoo says, I got a message about this location. Jinchul says, can I see that message? Jinwoo says, it only appears in my head. Jackal thinks, seeing so many dead bodies, has he lost his mind? What is he saying? I don't understand anything. Just then Cha arrives and asks Jinwoo, are you okay? Jinwoo replies in a low voice, yes, absolutely. I'm just a little tired. Saying this, Jinwoo collapses and loses consciousness. The others take care of him and rush him to the hospital. Now, we are shown Japan's S-rank gate, where Yuri Orlov was preparing to create a barrier. He had ordered truckloads of nearly 2 lakh tons of magic crystals, and with their help he creates a massive barrier that completely covers the dungeon gate. As soon as the barrier is completed, he senses something strange. He tells his manager, you said you had evacuated this area, but it doesn't seem fully empty. His manager replies, no, that's impossible. This area is empty. Besides, who would be crazy enough to come so close to this dungeon gate where a dungeon break could happen at any moment? Just then, a face is shown. It is none other than Jinwoo's father. He starts saying, finally, it's about to start. Everything is happening just as it was prophesied. After that we see army units and huge tanks in the town streets, and S-rank hunters from the Sword Guild standing outside the town as backup. If Yuri Orlov fails, they will step in to fight. However, Yuri Orlov has a different plan. He thinks that if everything goes right, he will clear this S-rank gate alone. Then his name will be known worldwide for clearing an S-rank gate by himself, and he might even get the title of national level hunter. He then takes out a bottle of alcohol, drinks, and asks his manager, how many men were there, meaning how many S-rank hunters are outside the town. The manager says there are 15 in total, to which Yuri says, that's a very small audience for me. The alcohol had clearly hit him, which is why he was talking nonsense. Suddenly, they see the gate starting to open. The dungeon break time had almost arrived. Monsters could come out any moment. The scene shifts to Jinho in the hospital. He has regained consciousness. Jinho arrives and is shocked to see him awake. He starts crying and says, you're finally up. We thought you were dead. You were unconscious for the last 3 days. Jinho is shocked to hear he was out for 3 days. This had never happened to him before. Suddenly Jinho remembers something and immediately asks Jinho, if I was unconscious for 3 days, what happened to that S-rank dungeon in Japan? Jinho says, oh, that raid failed. Then we are shown what actually happened 3 days ago. As soon as the dungeon break occurs, giant monsters start emerging, and everyone is terrified because giant monsters are incredibly powerful, each as strong as an A-rank gate boss. You can consider them equivalent to S-rank hunters, and these are just the normal monsters. Their general and boss were yet to come. One monster steps forward and attacks the barrier. Yuri laughs and says, do you really think you can break my barrier so easily? Then another giant steps forward, grabs the first one's head, and throws him away because he couldn't break the barrier. Seeing this, Yuri is terrified. Fear is visible on his face. The second giant then shatters the barrier into 2 pieces with just one attack, and swallows Yuri Orlov alive. He didn't even get a chance to defend himself, despite his dreams of clearing an S-rank dungeon alone. The scene shifts to Jinwoo's father, who had fallen asleep in his office. If you recall, Jinwoo's father suffered from the eternal sleep disease, the same one Jinwoo's mother had. However, this disease is only in its first stage for him. He falls asleep in the middle of work. The illness is slowly progressing. As he wakes up, his manager arrives and informs him, this time you slept for 23 hours and 36 minutes. You should be in the hospital. He brings a report and says, this is the report of the first patient to wake up from eternal sleep, and it's none other than Hunter Jinwoo's mother. Jinwoo's father thinks this means Jinwoo must have the cure. He asks if there is any other news about their guild. The manager says no, but a girl wants to meet him. She comes in and asks, since when have you had this disease? The scene shifts back to the S-rank gate in Japan, where there is massive destruction. Giant monsters are roaming the streets of Tokyo. The army is trying its best to stop them, firing continuously with tanks, but it has no effect on the monsters, who start throwing the tanks around. There is destruction everywhere. Then the S-rank hunters waiting outside the town enter and attack. Despite their size, the monsters are very fast and easily dodge the attacks. A media helicopter is seen above, recording everything, and it's being broadcast live to the whole world. Jinho is also watching the live broadcast and realizes that if this continues, many people will die, just like on Jeju Island, and it will impact all of Asia. He thinks he must go there immediately. Suddenly, a voice comes from behind. "Don't go." Jinho looks back. It's his sister. She says in a low voice, "Don't go, brother." Jinho goes to her, places his hand on her head and says, "Don't worry, I won't go. Besides, I've been working too much lately, so I'm going to leave everything and rest for a while." Later, Jinho sits in a park and summons Beru. Beru says, "Yes, my king, how may I serve you?" Jinho asks, "Are you watching K-dramas again? I told you to look after Jinho. Anyway, how is Jinho these days?" Beru explains that she doesn't eat or sleep, and stays in her room all day. Jinho realizes she is disturbed by what happened at school that day, but he doesn't know how to fix it. Suddenly, a car arrives and takes Jinho to Jinho's father's office. Jinho asks Jinho's father, "Why do you need me?" He replies, "Thank you for coming. My name is Han, and I am the chairman of Yujin Construction." He pushes a blank check toward Jinho and says, "I know everything in this world cannot be bought with money, but I want to give this as a thank you." Confused, Jinho asks, "What do you want from me?" Chairman Han says, "I have the same disease your mother had." Jinho asks if Jinho knows, to which Chairman Han replies, "No, only my wife and a few secretaries know, and now I've told you. After much research, we found that only one patient in the world has recovered from this disease. Your mother. I don't think that's a coincidence. I just want to know the truth. If you help me, I will never forget your kindness." But Jinho is unable to decide whether to give him the holy water of life, because the quantity is limited. The scene shifts back to the S-rank gate, where giant monsters are destroying buildings and trees and swallowing any human in their path. Japanese cameramen in helicopters are capturing this live. Almost everyone had left the town, or those who didn't were killed. Strangely, the cameramen were still safe. You tell us why in the comments. Their eyes fall on the dungeon gate, where the largest giant monster is sitting, as if guarding someone inside. All other giants that came out had spread across Japan. It had been 3 days since the dungeon break, and they had only managed to kill 2 giants. If not stopped soon, Japan would be wiped off the world map. Jinho tells Jinho he has decided to go to Japan. Jinho is shocked. "Are you crazy? Haven't you seen the news? The situation there is worse than Jeju Island. No one has ever seen such huge monsters." Jinho thinks, "So this time, even Jinho, who always trusted me, doesn't trust me. Things are truly serious." Jinho tells Jinho, "I understand, but think. If we are successful, our guild's name will spread worldwide." Jinho says, "If that's the case, fine. But this time, I'm coming with you." Jinho says, "You were just saying it's dangerous and not to go, and now you want to go too. Why?" Jinho starts crying and says, "Because I am also a member of the Scavenger Guild, but you never take me on big raids and the media makes fun of me. Do you know what people say? I am the vice guild master, but no one even knows me." Jinho says, Okay, stop crying. You can come. But let me tell you, this raid will be very dangerous." Jinho says, "I trust my big brother. I know you won't let anything happen to me." Jinho smiles and says, "I was joking. Why would I go to Japan in such a situation?" And goes home. At home, his mother has made dinner. He starts eating, but Jinho isn't there. He asks his mother if Jinho ate. She says Jinho wasn't hungry. Jinho starts worrying about his sister again. Then he remembers Chairman Han. We see that Jinho had refused him, and returned the check. When Chairman Han asked how his mother got better, Jinho said, "Many people have this disease. If I knew, I could have made a lot of money by sharing that information." And he left. But he was regretting his decision because he was Jinho's father. He didn't know how Jinho would react if he found out. Jinho thinks, "I don't know him, or what kind of person he is. Plus, the holy water of life is limited. I can't give it to everyone." Finally, Jinho decides he will go to Japan because he needs to become stronger, and that wouldn't happen sitting at home. He tells his mother he is leaving. She says, "You are just like your father. He also used to leave his meals when work called." Jinho goes to Jinho and tells her he is going to Japan. He thanks her for never stopping him from going on raids and always trusting him. He asks her to trust him one more time. Jinho starts crying and says, "So you are going? But you said you wouldn't." Jinho says, "Yes, but don't worry, I'll be back soon and I'll protect you even from afar." He leaves some shadow soldiers there and goes. At the airport, Jinho and Jinho are surrounded by media before leaving for Japan. In Japan, the army is evacuating towns as monsters spread to different cities. 2 giant monsters appear where there are no hunters to help. The army starts firing, but tanks couldn't stop them, so bullets were useless. The monsters get angry and are about to attack civilians when the army surrounds them. Suddenly, Jinho's shadow soldier, Jima, whom Jinho had recently added to his army, enters. Jima kills a giant monster in just one attack. The Japanese army is shocked. They hadn't seen Jinho's shadow soldiers before and thought he was a monster too. Then Jinho and Jinho arrive. Jinho cuts another giant in half while Jinho protects the civilians. News of Jinho going to Japan spreads globally since it's live. Some hunters in the USA are talking about Jinho, saying he thinks too much of himself just because he killed some ants. They say giants are a different level and he will be killed easily. They start betting on how long he will survive. Some say a day, some say an hour, betting their houses and cars. Then the world's strongest hunter, Thomas Andre, who is currently stronger than Jinho, appears. He says, "I bet the entire Scavenger Guild building that he will survive." Everyone is shocked. Thomas then says, "Anyway, you should focus on the S-rank gate opened in our country. Its dungeon break is tomorrow. Let's see how many of you survive." He ruins the mood of the hunters who were joking just moments ago. Back in Japan, media helicopters are covering Jinho and his shadow army fighting. Before Jinho arrived, Japan had killed only 2 giants in 3 days. Now his summons are killing them one after another. In a street, a little girl is running from a giant, crying. The giant is about to catch her. Guess who arrives? He first cuts the giant's hand and saves the girl. It's none other than Igris. Then Iron arrives and smashes the giant's head with his axe. As usual, he stands on the corpse and starts shouting, destroying nearby buildings. Igris looks at him as if to say, "He's not with me." Jinho tells Jinho to evacuate the area. He says it's time to get serious, shouts "Arise," and begins his work. In the Japanese Hunter Association office, news pours in about cities being recovered. Chairman Matsumoto is shocked. How is this possible? We only killed 2 giants in 3 days, but Jinho has cleared 5 to 6 cities in a few hours. We are then shown a scene from when Jinho landed at the airport. Matsumoto had gone to pick him up and provide info since there was no time for meetings. They only asked Jinho to protect one city that needed it most, because Matsumoto didn't fully trust Jinho. He wanted Jinho to keep the giants busy while they negotiated with other countries to hire a national-level hunter. But Jinho refused to go to just one city. His plan was to divide his shadow soldiers among all cities to save everything at once. Matsumoto didn't understand then, but now he realizes Jinho came to kill all giants and their boss alone. Jinho extracts the shadows of the dead giants. He now has 7 giant shadow soldiers. Confused about names, he decides to name them numbers 1 through 7. His shadow army had spread across Japan, helping S-rank hunters who couldn't kill a single giant. Jinho's shadows had the advantage of being immortal. They could regenerate infinitely. Since Jinho's mana was over 1 lakh after getting the Black Heart, he could regenerate them as much as he wanted without running out of mana. Almost all cities in Japan were evacuated, so no one noticed small new dungeon gates opening, leading to more dungeon breaks. Although these were low-level monsters, they caused trouble because all hunters were busy with giants, but once Jinho's shadows arrived, these cities were also recovered. 7 days after the dungeon break, Jinho and Jinho finally reach Tokyo. Hanekawa, Goto Ryuji's manager, tells them that out of 15 S-rank hunters, 6 Japanese and 9 foreign, Yuri Orlov and 3 others are dead and the count of lower-rank deaths is lost. She thanks Jinho for bringing the situation under control. Jinho says only the one guarding the gate is left. Looking at the destruction, Jinho is reminded of the demon castle. He thinks the system might have given him a hint, but since the system is now gone, it remains a mystery. Jinho tells Hanekawa, "Let's finish this." Finally, everyone is here. She is confused since no other hunters are there. Jinho says, "Look closely." His entire shadow army, Tusk, Iron, Tank, Igris, Beru, and the new giant shadows returns from their missions. Jinho praises them and tells Jinho to keep his distance. Then Jinho stands his army in a line and shouts, "My soldiers, attack!" It's a goosebumps moment, similar to Captain America's Avengers Assemble. The giant at the gate, who is much stronger than the others and broke Yuri's barrier, stands up and charges, tearing through thousands of shadow soldiers. Despite his size, he is very fast. Igris and Baru stay with Jinho as the giant continues his rampage, even taking down Tusk. Giant shadow soldiers also fail to stop him. Small ant soldiers start biting his legs, making him stomp on them. Baru gets angry and wants to fight, but Jinho stops him, knowing he can regenerate the fallen shadows endlessly with his massive mana. However, Jinho's mana starts dropping from 109,000 to 90,000. Jinho notices the giant's weak spot and decides to join the fight. He rides Kaisel, with Igris and Baru following. Igris attacks, but the giant dodges. While he is distracted, Jinho uses his daggers to blind one of the giant's eyes. Baru attacks his face, and Jinho uses Ruler's Authority, though the giant is only slightly injured. Hanakawa thinks it looks like a fight between monsters, not a human and a monster. For the final attack, Baru enters the giant's mouth and starts cutting him from the inside, while Jinho uses his Mutilate skill to slash him thousands of times from the outside. The giant is defeated. The system notifies Jinho that his level has increased from 104 to 108. Jinho thought this was the boss, but there is no dungeon cleared message, meaning the real boss is still alive and much stronger. Jinho tries to extract the shadow but fails. A magical storm erupts from the gate. High-level shadows are fine, but low-level ones are blown away. Igris saves Jinho. Jinho notices the gate absorbing magical energy from the giant's body, and the energy wave is so strong it cuts Jinho's face. Jinho and Baru enter the gate and find a massive castle. Inside, they find a giant monster bound by heavy chains. He is laughing. Jinho asks why, and the monster says, "Look who has come to meet me, the Shadow Monarch himself." He welcomes Jinho and asks him to break the chains, claiming he needs to warn other monarchs about the ruler's plans. Jinho asks if a ruler did this to him. The monster says yes, and that this is just a glimpse of the coming war. Jinho, surprised that a monster is talking so freely, asks who the rulers are. The monster says they are ancient enemies of the monarchs. Jinho realizes he might be their enemy too. The monster confirms he is also a monarch, and offers to help Jinho if he is freed. Jinho is skeptical. The monster proposes a pledge of honesty, a contract where neither can lie. Jinho accepts. The monster, named Legia, king of giants, explains that dungeon beasts are soldiers imprisoned by rulers for eons, which is why they have lost their minds, but as a king he remains sane. Legia explains that rulers are the ones in silver armor with wings. They are sending monsters to fill the world with mana to prepare it as a battlefield for the final war against the monarchs. They want humans to use mana crystals so the world doesn't perish during the war. Jinho asks why he is being targeted. Legia says Jinho's power isn't actually his. The original owner of this power betrayed the other monarchs, making Jinho an enemy of both sides. Legia swears to fight for Jinho. Jinho asks why he shouldn't just turn him into a shadow. Legia explains that monarchs and rulers have spiritual bodies that vanish upon death, so they can't be turned into shadows. Jinho still feels something is wrong. He asks Legia if he will fight for humanity. Legia remains silent because he cannot lie. Jinho notices a magic crystal on Legia's neck and asks if he too hears the ruler's voice telling him to kill humans. Legia attacks Jinho with his free hand, but Jinho dodges and stabs him, saying he is too dangerous to keep alive. Legia curses Jinho, saying the world will become a battlefield and everyone Jinho loves will burn. Jinho beheads him. The system notifies him that he defeated one of the 9 monarchs, and his level jumps from 108 to 122. The scene shifts to a mansion of a national-level hunter, Christopher Reed, in America. Lady Selna and a bureau official visit him, warning him that his life is in danger. Christopher is arrogant, saying no one can defeat him. Selna says she saw a dream where he was surrounded. Christopher gets angry, but she says only one person might be able to help him, Sung Jinwoo from Korea. Jinho, leaving the dungeon, realizes he must get even stronger. His fame grows. People believe he is as strong as a national-level hunter. In America, Thomas Andre is excited that Jinho is coming for the International Guild Conference. Meanwhile, Jinho's father is suspected of being involved in Christopher Reed's death. Jinho is told this on a plane by Adam White. Jinho gets angry and chokes Adam, but Adam explains that a person who looked like Jinho's father emerged from a dungeon with monster-like energy and attacked an S-rank hunter. Jinho is shocked. In America, Thomas Andre warns Dongsoo not to touch Jinho. Jinho arrives in the US and is invited to the Hunter Bureau. They offer him a Kamish rune stone to become a US citizen. Kamish was a dragon whose raid only 5 hunters survived, the national-level hunters. Jinho wants to see Kamish's body instead. Despite the risks, they take him there. Jinho tries to extract Kamish's shadow. After one failure, he succeeds. Kamish arises and greets the Shadow Monarch. He almost attacks the humans, but Jinho stops him. Kamish shows respect, saying he once served the Monarch of Destruction but will now serve Jinho. However, Kamish soon begins to fade, saying they met too late, he had been dead for too long. The extraction was successful, but he couldn't keep Kamish in his shadow army for long. Jinwoo starts shouting and tries to stop him, but it was impossible. Kamish says, "I wish I could have stayed with you longer." Before leaving, he reveals one more thing. There are 4 humans in this world who have received power from the rulers, so he warns Jinwoo to be careful of them. After saying this, he disappears forever, and a message appears: Shadow extraction failed. Jinwoo's mood turns extremely sour. He tells Adam to send him the bill for all the repairs for the damage caused there and leaves in anger. Later, he meets Jinchul again. Jinchul asks, "Where were you?" "We were looking for you." Jinwoo replies that he had urgent work. Jinchul then asks, "Where is Jinho?" "He was with you, wasn't he?" Jinwoo is confused and asks what he means. Jinchul explains that Jinho was with him, but he received a call from the Hunter Bureau saying Jinwoo had summoned him there. Jinwoo says, "I'm just coming from the Hunter Bureau right now." "What are you talking about?" Jinwoo immediately goes to the Hunter Bureau and asks Adam. Adam says Hunter Jinho isn't here now, but he did come earlier. A hunter from the Scavenger Guild took him away. Adam tells Jinwoo to wait for 2 minutes and calls the Scavenger Guild manager. The manager says they didn't give any orders to bring Hunter Jinho, but she realizes who must have done it. She tells Adam not to let Jinwoo find out, saying she'll handle it, and asks him not to let Jinwoo leave. However, while Adam was busy on the call, Jinwoo had already left. He also had a slight idea of who was behind this. He thinks, "This is my fault, because when Jinho came from Japan to Korea to treat Jinho's dad, Jinwoo used the shadow soldier inside Jinho for a shadow exchange but later forgot to put another shadow soldier back in. Therefore, he couldn't use shadow exchange to go directly to him now. So he summons his entire shadow army to search for Jinho." Meanwhile, Thomas Andre finds out about this. He is furious and orders his hunters to find Dongsoo before Jinwoo. Jinwoo is also searching using his skills. If you don't remember, let me tell you that Jinwoo recently gained a new skill that allows him to look through any shadow soldier and see or hear their surroundings. Jinwoo's shadow soldiers were spread across the city, and Jinwoo was looking through them one by one, listening to the voices of people nearby, but he hadn't found anything yet. He was certain Dongsoo was behind this, which made him incredibly angry. Thomas Andre's men were also looking for Dongsoo, but they couldn't find him either. Thomas Andre has a rule: if anyone touches a hunter from his guild, he destroys them, whether it's the government or a national-level hunter, even if his hunter is at fault. Dongsoo was taking advantage of this. He knew he couldn't win against Jinwoo, but he knew Thomas Andre would definitely come to save him. Thomas Andre calls his manager to ask about the situation. She says that with the help of the Hunter Bureau, they found that Dongsoo visited 3 specific places frequently in the last few months, so he might be there. Thomas says, fine, send those 3 locations to our men, I'm heading out to find him now. Then Thomas asks, wait, how did you convince the Hunter Bureau to help? The manager says, nothing much. I just told them Dongsoo is missing and Jinwoo might be behind it. So a fight could start between Thomas Andre and Jinwoo at any moment. This news spreads like wildfire across America. All dungeon raids scheduled nearby are cancelled, because this was huge news. Next, we see a warehouse in a deserted area far from the city. Dongsoo is inside with 2 other hunters, and they have Jinho tied up. Jinho is in terrible condition, having been tortured severely. He is unconscious. Dongsoo says Thomas Andre told him not to touch Jinho, but his plan from the start wasn't to do anything to Jinho, it was because there was another person in that dungeon. They start waking Jinho up. Since he's unconscious, Dongsoo punches him in the chest to wake him and says, I don't want to kill you. The hunter in glasses behind me is an S-rank healer. So even if you're about to die, he can heal you if I order him to. This means if you don't tell us what we want to know, you will be healed and tortured repeatedly forever. And no one is coming to save you because this factory has been closed for 5 years. Despite his condition, Jinho isn't scared at all. He calls Dongsoo closer and whispers in his ear. Dongsoo asks angrily, what did you say? But Jinho speaks again and shows them his middle finger. I can't tell you how satisfying it was to see this scene. Even though what happens next to the poor guy isn't good, it was still enjoyable for now. You guys should also comment on how you felt. Dongsoo gets angry hearing this, and slams Jinho's head against a nearby wall, saying, you think this is a joke? Now watch what happens to you. This is just the beginning. Just then, one of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers arrives at the warehouse gate. When they see it, they think it's a monster from a nearby dungeon. Dongsoo walks toward it, saying he doesn't have time for this, and is about to punch it when the word exchange is heard. Before anyone can realize what happened, Dongsoo is hit by a powerful punch and sent flying. We see that Jinwoo has arrived and he is beyond furious. He is so angry that even Baru, sitting in Korea, can feel his rage. Meanwhile, Thomas Andre is shown in his car, heading out to find Dongsoo. But he senses that the fight has already started, so he jumps out of his car because it was too slow, and starts flying toward them himself. Jinwoo is seen giving Jinho a healing potion, but it doesn't work because Jinho's health is below 10%, meaning he is almost dead. Seeing this, Jinwoo gets angrier and asks the other 2 hunters, which of you is the healer? But they say they don't know the Korean language. Dongsoo gets back up and tells his men that Jinwoo wants them to heal the boy. Then Dongsoo asks Jinwoo, what's the rush? We're meeting for the first time. Jinwoo says, I'm giving a warning for now. Heal him quickly. The hunter in glasses starts saying, for that we'll have to ask our boss, but before he can finish, Jinwoo grabs his head and throws him away. He asks the other hunter, are you a healer too? But that hunter is already terrified and starts apologizing, saying Dongsoo told him to do all this and that the job wouldn't involve Jinwoo. When the hunter says he's not a healer, Jinwoo throws him away as well. By then, Dongsoo approaches and asks, you're the one who killed my brother Hwang and his teammates, right? Jinwoo says, you can ask him yourself when you meet him. Hearing this, Dongsoo gets furious and moves to punch Jinwoo, but Jinwoo easily dodges and lands a punch on him, sending him flying again. This time, Jinwoo doesn't give him time to recover. He goes to him, grabs his head, and slams it into the ground repeatedly. Dongsoo is in bad shape and near death. Suddenly, Thomas Andre appears behind Jinwoo and says, leave him now. Jinwoo ignores him. Thomas says again, let him go. In return, we'll forget everything that happened here. Jinwoo asks, and if I don't? Thomas says, if you don't stop, you'll have to fight me. Jinwoo says, I have no problem. Come on then, and throws Dongsoo aside. Thomas, Andre, and Jinwoo stand face to face. Thomas says, "It seems you don't know exactly who I am." Jinwoo looks into his eyes and says, "Whoever you are, it doesn't matter to me." This makes Thomas Andre angry, and he prepares to attack. Outside the warehouse, many hunters from Thomas Andre's guild have arrived, having tracked Dongsoo. Suddenly, there's a loud explosion inside, and someone crashes through the wall. They see it's Thomas Andre. Everyone asks, "What happened, boss? Are you okay?" But Thomas tells everyone to stay away. Meanwhile, Jinwoo summons Igris and tells him to take Jinho to the hospital. Igris immediately mounts Kaisel and takes Jinho away. Since Jinwoo had insulted Thomas in front of so many people, Thomas is furious and thinks, "I don't care about Dongsoo anymore. I will kill this arrogant man with my own hands." Jinwoo then summons his entire shadow army. Thomas Andre and all the hunters of his guild also get ready for the fight. Thomas gives Jinwoo a last warning. "Back down even now and apologize, and I'll at least spare your life." But Jinwoo literally shows Thomas Andre the middle finger in front of all those hunters. Thomas's anger hits the roof and he says, "How dare you? You will regret this decision very soon." Thomas then changes his form, with lightning releasing from his body. Jinwoo orders his shadow army to attack. Since Jinwoo has the advantage in numbers, he attacks first. Thomas's hunters prepare to defend. Even though they are fewer, they are all top-level strong hunters, so defeating them won't be easy. However, Jinwoo has another advantage. He can regenerate all his shadow soldiers repeatedly. The two armies clash. Thomas Andre also fights the shadow soldiers and easily defeats Tusk and Tank with a single punch. But he realizes that while the fight is easy for him, it won't be easy for his hunters. As expected, more than half the hunters are soon on the ground. Only a few are left, surrounded by shadow soldiers. Jinwoo hasn't joined the fight yet, he's just watching from a distance. Thomas sees that if this continues, the remaining hunters will lose soon. He decides to finish Jinwoo directly, which would end the summons, and rushes toward him. But Jinwoo sees him coming and disappears. Thomas is confused for a moment, but Jinwoo appears behind him and stabs him in the stomach with his dagger before he can attack. However, he is shocked to see that the dagger didn't even leave a scratch, as if Thomas's skin was made of solid armor. Jinwoo is momentarily distracted, which Thomas exploits to land a counterpunch, sending Jinwoo flying. Thomas says, "Did you think defeating a national-level hunter would be that easy?" Then Thomas uses a power to pull Jinwoo toward him rapidly. Jinwoo loses control of his body, but he doesn't give up. He uses his gravitational magic to try and crush or push Thomas away. Thomas is surprised that instead of defending, Jinwoo is attacking. This attack causes Thomas to lose control for a moment, and Jinwoo lands a punch directly on Thomas's face. The punch is so strong that Thomas bleeds. Thomas is shocked because this isn't normal for him. He says, "Fine, that's enough. I won't underestimate you anymore. I'll fight with full force." He then changes into his final form. His skin turns dark and his body starts glowing, covering him from head to toe in strong armor. Seeing this, Jinwoo remembers Kamish's words about the 4 hunters who received power from the rulers. He wonders if these 4 are the national-level hunters, since Thomas looks like a ruler in that armor. While Jinwoo is thinking, Thomas attacks. Jinwoo notices his speed and strength have increased significantly. He manages to dodge, but Thomas doesn't give him a chance to recover and creates a literal black hole that sucks in many of Jinwoo's shadow soldiers. Jinwoo barely escapes using his ruler's authority skill. This shows how strong Thomas Andre is. He isn't called the world's strongest hunter for nothing. Thomas attacks again, but Jinwoo kicks him in the face and moves into the air. Thomas tries to pull him, but this time Jinwoo pulls back. Both are pulled toward each other, meaning they are about to collide. They both prepare to punch, and their fists clash in a massive explosion. The impact starts breaking Thomas's armor, and he is sent flying. Jinwoo doesn't stop. He chases Thomas and prepares another attack. Thomas notices and moves behind Jinwoo, but Jinwoo's reflexes are too fast. He turns, grabs the two horns on Thomas's armor and attacks his face, breaking the helmet. By now, people from the Hunter Bureau have arrived to stop the fight, thinking Thomas might kill Jinwoo, but they see the opposite. Jinwoo is dominating the fight, and Thomas is on the ground while Jinwoo continuously punches him. Thomas doesn't even get a chance to fight back. They are shocked and don't know how to stop Jinwoo, because if they don't act fast, Thomas could die. Thomas himself is confused, wondering how a mage-type hunter has such speed and strength. He realizes he might lose but refuses to let it happen, shouting, "I am Thomas Andre! Don't think you can defeat me so easily." He tries to create distance, but Jinwoo matches his speed and slams him down again, saying, "As I said before, I don't give a damn who you are." He keeps punching. Thomas's armor is almost completely destroyed. The Hunter Bureau people tell Jinwoo to stop, but he doesn't listen. Thomas realizes he can't win and might die, so he says, "I admit defeat." Only then does Jinwoo stop. Thomas's ego didn't get in the way of his survival, which was a good move. The Bureau people are stunned to see Thomas Andre beaten so badly. If this news goes public, people will lose their minds. Their healer is shocked by Thomas's condition, noting that every bone in his body is broken and he's bleeding heavily. He says Thomas is only alive because he's a national-level hunter. Anyone else would have died 10 times over. The other hunters who fought the shadows are helped, though none died except for Dongsoo, whose injuries were too serious and who died while the others were occupied with the main fight. Jinwoo returns to Korea by swapping places with Beru, whom he sends to America to heal Jinho since Beru is also a healer. Jinwoo sits on a building roof and talks to a shadow soldier, saying, "You haven't been to Korea in a long time. This city is Seoul." The shadow suddenly says, "My king." Jinwoo asks what's wrong, and the shadow asks for a name. This shadow is Dongsoo, who became a general rank shadow. Jinwoo says, "You died because of your greed, so your name will be Greed." Greed thanks him, and Jinwoo tells him to bow down, still seemingly punishing him. The next day is the International Guild Conference. Jinwoo is back in America, surrounded by media because of the fight. Everyone is afraid of him now. In the conference room, hunters from all over the world are present, including China's 7-star hunter Liu Zhigang. Everyone is talking about how Jinwoo beat Thomas so badly that he's still in the hospital. A doctor named Belza presents, saying that gates are appearing more frequently and monsters are getting stronger. He mentions unusual magical energy in the atmosphere called the Magisphere, detected in 9 places globally, with the strongest over South Korea. Jinwoo wonders if these 9 spots represent the 9 monarchs. Then Michael from the Bureau announces that Christopher Reed has been killed. Everyone is shocked. They wonder if the hunter who fought Thomas, Jinwoo, did it. Michael shows a photo of the suspect, and everyone notices the resemblance to Jinwoo. Michael clarifies it's not Jinwoo but reveals the suspect's details. Jinwoo notices his father in one of the clips, realizing his father was threatening Dongsoo. Jinwoo summons Greed to confirm, and Greed confirms it is indeed Jinwoo's father. Liu Zhigang asks about the relationship, and Michael reveals they are father and son. Liu asks Jinwoo what he'll do if the hunters go after his father. Jinwoo says a hunter's job is to hunt monsters. If he is a monster, I will hunt him myself. But if he is just my father, I will hunt every hunter who goes after him. I will protect my family even if I have to fight the whole world. After the meeting, Adam asks if Jinwoo meant what he said. Jinwoo confirms. Michael takes Jinwoo to Lady Selna. She tells him about her dream regarding Christopher Reed and says she wants Jinwoo to protect all the hunters because powerful ones are going to die, and only he can save them. She recalls seeing an endless power in his eyes and hearing a voice telling her to prepare for war. Michael says they are willing to give anything for his help, even Kamish's runestone. Jinwoo agrees. The next day, there's a party for the hunters. Jinwoo attends with Jinho, who has fully recovered. Many guilds want to do business with Jinwoo, which Jinho handles as vice chairman. Adam gives Jinwoo a list of hunters to protect, including Thomas Andre and Liu Zhigang. To ensure their safety, Jinwoo secretly places a shadow soldier inside every strong hunter on the list. Thomas Andre approaches Jinwoo, showing his hand which won't fully recover. He thanks Jinwoo for not killing his guild members and asks for permission to hold a proper funeral for Dongsoo. He also invites Jinwoo to dinner. Thomas's manager then offers Jinwoo a gift, and Jinwoo asks for a tiger, implying a specific high-grade item or vehicle, often translated as a luxury car in this context. Finally, the scene shifts to South Korea. Chairman Gun-hee is in his office thinking about his heart condition. Suddenly he feels a strong presence and sees someone sitting in front of him, Frost Monarch. And that's where Season 3 ends.